Hello all. Today I will you go through the concept of the virtualization. I introduce myself. I am Professor Vinay Suryavamshi, working as assistant professor in Kekewag Engineering College, Nasik. So let's begin. So what we are going to see in the today's lecture and what will be the outcome of the today's lecture. So these are the contents. First, we will see the introduction of the virtualization and what are the benefits of the virtualization technique. Then we will go through the various implementation levels of the virtualization. After looking at the implementation levels, we will compare those various implementation levels. And at the last, we will look at who are the virtualization providers. So at the end of this lecture, we will able to understand the basic concepts of the virtualization and its implementation levels. Okay, so let's begin with the basic concepts of the virtualization, that is introducing the virtualization. So here you can see a diagram in which you see the first box is a simple machine. So if you are talking about the computer system, what we have, which are the basic contents of the system? We have the software, we have the hardware, that is here you can see here in this diagram. We have the operating system and we do have the applications. So this is the normal computer system. But many of we are using the virtualization technique nowadays. How? We take the remote connection of the other system. So what we do? We take the, we are using the computer which is situated at the far place. So how we can do that? We can do that with the help of the virtualization. We generally take the remote desktop connection of the other machine. So we are using the machine located at the far place from our system on the internet. But what to do when we have to run multiple machines on a same hardware? So take the understand the scenario. What I have to do now? I have to run multiple systems on the same hardware. So at that time, the concept of the virtualization works. So in the second box, you can see I have introduced one additional layer known as a hypervisor in between the hardware and the operating system. Yes, so the two boxes are being separated. One is having the operating system and application, and another is the hardware. And the third layer I have inserted is a hypervisor. So what that hypervisor will do? The hypervisor will let you know to run the multiple instances on your hardware. So in the third diagram, you can see I have a common hardware. I am running a hypervisor on it and I can run the three instances. What are my three instances? Instance is nothing but the system. Just like we are using our computer system physically, that is your standalone machine. Similarly, we can run the three or multiple systems on the same hardware with the help of the supervisor. So that is the concept of the virtualization. That means on a common hardware, we can run multiple machines in a virtual way. But at actual, if we see, there is a single machine. If we look at this first diagram, but by using the concept of the hypervisor, it emulates or virtualizes the user as a individual system. So it gives it enables the user to create the multiple instances, and it works like a individual system. So these have the access to the hardware. The second machine have access to this hardware, and this third instance also having the access to the hardware. So this is the concept of the virtualization. So we'll understand what do my virtual machine. So in the previous diagram, if we say I told you the concept of the instances. So what do my instance? Instance is nothing but the virtual machine. The physical machine we know, similar we have the working of the virtual machine. We do not, we cannot, what we can say, separate the virtual machine and the your physical machine. It will look just like we are using the our own physical machine. So that is the concept of the virtual machine. So here you can see, so in a previous diagram I have shown you the three virtual machines as a three instances. So here the virtual machines, this VM technology allows the multiple virtual machines to run on the single physical machine as per the given diagram. So here the same diagram is being shown here. It is hardware, it is the hypervisor that we have seen, that is also called as a virtual machine monitor. We will use this term VMM henceforth in this lecture. We do not use the term hypervisor in the upcoming lecture, but we will use this term as a virtual machine monitor, that is a VMM. On the top of this we will run our instances that we call it here as a virtual machines. So what do virtual machines have? Virtual machine have its own OS and its own applications running on it, and there are multiple users on these virtual machines. They can use these machines. So we may have the multiple machines, only the three machines are being shown here. So these instances are called as the virtual machines. And here in this diagram you can see which are the VMMs hypervisors. We have the Xen hypervisor, we have the VMware, we have the UML, we have the Denali, etc. etc. We'll go through it. Now we'll understand the basic terminologies of this virtualization. So firstly, we need a host machine on which we have to run the multiple instances or say virtual machines. So it is the physical hardware oblique the server machine. Yes. Then we need the second term as a hypervisor or say VMM. So what is it? It is nothing but the software layer. This is called as a virtualization software. And how it will work? It acts as a true OS for the server. Yes or no? Yes, because if we do not run it, we are not able to create the virtual machine. So it is the true OS. And next thing is the virtual machines. On the top of the VMM or say hypervisors, we have created the virtual machines. So these are nothing but the instances. You see, the terminologies that I have used are same given over here. The instances of the virtualized OS. Sometimes we call it as a guest OS, because which is the host? Host is the hardware that is being utilized, the common hardware, and the operating system of that host will be act as a host OS. But we are not shown here the host OS, but only we have shown here the guest OS because it is running on the top of some hypervisor. Okay, so I think you are familiar now with this basic terminologies of this virtualization. Okay, so definitely the question comes into your mind that what are the benefits of using the virtualization? What I'll get by using the creating the virtual machines? I can use my own machines and I can run my applications. What is the problem into that? But to use this virtualization concept, there are various benefits of it. The first benefit it says is the maximizing the resources. So how this technique will maximize the resources? So in cloud computing or say cloud computing, we generally use this concept of the virtualization. So when the cloud providers gives you these services, these are on the pay as you go facilities. That means whatever you are using, that you have to pay. So how do we maximize the resources? In the previous diagram we have seen there was a single hardware, and what we have done, we have run the three virtual machines on the top of the same hardware. Instead of running a single machine, we are running three virtual machines over there. That means what we have done, we have maximized the resources, the use of the resources. So the concern about the resource management or infrastructure maintenance also reduced in this case, because we are using the common hardware structure here. Thus, we are providing a way for maximizing the resources. The second benefit states here is the reducing the hardware cost. How do we reduce the hardware cost? As we have seen in the diagram, there was a common hardware platform used for the various virtual machines. The hardware cost actually being reduced. There is no need to keep the hardware at our own place. We can use it as a pay as you go facility. So there is no maintenance cost of the infrastructure. So as the maintenance cost is being reduced, automatically the cost of the hardware being automatically reduced. As well as you do not require the installing the large servers, use disk space, or the expensive databases. Why? Because you can avail these services virtually anytime. Thus, you can avoid the cost that incur in case you do not have the virtualization services. Okay. The third benefit of this virtualization is minimizing the maintenance requirements. Yes, if you are using it as a service, then definitely we are not maintaining the servers, we are not maintaining the disks, so automatically the maintenance cost is also reduced. It is not our headache, it is a headache of the service giver. So lesser the hardware with you, the lesser is the requirement for the maintenance. And this virtualization helps you to run the multiple OS on the single hardware, which reduces the hardware cost as well as the need for maintaining the hardware. Fourth benefit here is the enjoying benefits of the OS services. So this virtualization help you to take the advantages of the facilities offered by the different operating systems. For example, if you run the OS on the personal computer, but you need the certain kind of the service from the other operating system, you can avail that service through the virtualization. Fifth benefit is the using multiple systems. So use of this multiple system is made easy with the help of the virtualization. This VMM provides the platform for the more than one OS to work in the way that you enjoy the benefits of the multiple computers through one. As you can see in the diagram, there are three virtual machines running, and there might be a different operating systems running on the different virtual machines, and you can run the various applications which are running on the different operating system at the same time and on the same hardware. So that is the benefit. Next is the testing the beta software and maintaining the legacy applications. So if you are developing any software and you have to test that software on say server platform, then no need to buy the hardware. You can just utilize the services provided through the virtualization technique. You can create the instance for the temporary purpose. You can test your application and you can close it as and when required. So we can create and we can close as and when required, and we have to pay only for the usage that we have done. So all the time we do not need to purchase all these things, and we can do it with the cost benefit. Likewise, if you have the legacy systems on which the certain applications are run and suspended, you can continue with and without requiring to port the programs to the different OS. And lastly is increasing the system security. So you can increase the security of your system through the virtualization. Individual systems that are run on the virtual machines can be separated from each other. This helps avoid the requirements for the different computers to be run on the different levels of the security without being utilized to their full capacity. Now we will go through the various implementation levels of the virtualization. So in this diagram you can see there are say total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of the implementations for the virtualization technique. So first virtualization technique at the bottom you can see is the instruction set architecture, that is ISA level implementation. Second level you can see the hardware abstraction level, that is the HL level implementation. Third is the operating system level. Fourth is the library or say user level API level. And fifth is the application level implementation. So we will see one by one the implementation techniques or say levels. Firstly, we will see the virtualization at say instruction level architecture, that is a ISA level. So where does the instruction actually run? The instructions actually run at the hardware. So the virtualization being done at the hardware itself is known as the virtualization at the infrastructure set architecture level. So you can see in the diagram, so here is your hardware. On the hardware this ISA is running, and on the top of the ISA you may have the softwares. Yes, so the virtualization done at this ISA level is known as the virtualization at the infrastructure instruction set architecture level. We will see the details of it. So what it do? It transforms the physical architecture of the system's instruction set completely into the software. Yes or no? We have to first transform the hardware into the software, the instruction set of the physical architecture to the software. So secondly, the host, we know, we have seen the host system. What are the components of a host system? Host system may have the memory, it have the processor, it have the input output devices, it have the buses, etc. Hardware may contain all these things. Yes or no? So what it will do, on this machine the VMM installs the guest systems. Yes or no? So at this level, what we are doing, this virtual machine manager will installs the guest systems on the top of this hardware. That we call as a ISA level. So here how it will be done? It will be done through the emulator. So these guest systems issue the instructions to the emulator. We can see these are the guest systems. That means a common client like me, like I have to use the host machine. So what I will do, I am the guest over here. So what I will do, I will send the instructions to the emulator. Yes, or I will issue the instructions to the emulator to process and execute. After receiving the instructions, what the emulator will do? Emulator will transform them into the native instruction set. You can see in the diagram. And this native instruction set can be given to the hardware. That we got is the host machine here. That is the host machine's hardware. Yes. What these instructions include? These instructions include the both processor oriented instructions and the input output specific ones. So for an emulator to be successful, it needs to emulate all the tasks that are real computer can perform. Yes, so this host machine has to perform all these instructions just like your original computer performs. So this is the virtualization at the instruction set architecture. So it may have some pros and cons. So what are the pros? Pros means the positive side of this virtualization. So as it directly works with the hardware, it is a very simple and say robust kind of transformation. Yes or no? So what we do here, we'll transform this into the virtual architecture. So this architecture makes it easy to implement the multiple systems on a single physical structure. Yes, so in this diagram we have seen the instructions issued by the gate systems are translated into the instructions of the host system, and the architecture enables the host systems to adjust to change into architecture of the gate system. If accomplishing a task can be possible through the instructions that are available with the host system, the binding between the host and the gate systems is not very stringent over here, hence making it very flexible. Getting it? The infrastructure provided by the virtualization of this kind can be used for creating the virtual machines on a platform. For example, we can say x86 or on any platform such as x86 Spark, or we can say Alpha. So, and what is the negative point or say cons of it? The instruction need to be interpreted before being executed. Yes, because it has to be run onto the hardware, so we need the interpretation. Therefore, the system with the virtualization of the instruction set architecture level shows a poor performance. So these are the pros and cons of this virtualization at the ISA level. Getting it, students? Now we will move to the second implementation level, that is the virtualization at the hardware abstraction layer. Before going into the theory, we will look at the diagram so that you will be able to understand it a great way. So here what we have the PC hardware. Now we are not doing at this level. We are running a virtual machine monitor on the top of this VMware PC hardware, and what we are doing, we are again have the, we can say, the virtual machines running on this top of the VMM, and you can see a additional layer is being introduced between the guest OS and the VMM. You can see here the virtual machine layer is being shown here. So this layer is at the hardware abstraction layer, that is the HAL layer. Okay, getting it? So this is the second type. So what happens in the second case? So in the virtualization at the HAL, the time spent in interpreting the instructions issued by the guest platform into the instructions of the host platform is reduced by the taking advantage of the similarities that exist between the architectures of the system. Yes, so here the time reduced. What time was spent by the first type of the implementation level, that is the ISA level. So we need the time to interpret the instructions from the guest to the host, yes, at the hardware level. So that time is being reduced with the taking the advantage of this similarity that exists between the architectures of the systems. Now, this virtualization utilizes the native hardware for all its computation and the processing. And how it will be done? It will be done by mapping the virtual resources into the physical resources. The layer that is being introduced in between the guest OS and the VMM does this thing. It maps the virtual resources into the physical resources. Generally, where this system is being used, so it is commonly used in the x86 platforms, which increases the efficiency of the virtual machine in handling the various tasks. One thing we have to think while using this virtualization at the hardware abstraction layer, we have to, for successful working of these virtualization techniques, we needs the trapping the execution of the privileged instructions by the virtual machine. Yes, if you see at the diagram, we are having the multiple machines running. They are running just like the they are running on the, say, physical machine. Yes. So each operating system, you can see here there is operating system. So each operating system has the privileged instructions. Yes. So that's what here given. We need the trapping, the execution of the privileged instructions by the VM, which must pass these instructions to the VMM. Yes or no? And VMM has to handle it properly. This is required. Why it is required? Because of the possible existence of the multiple virtual machines and each having its own OS. Are you getting? That might issue the separate privileged instructions, and execution of the privileged instructions need the full attention of the CPU. We know we are using the common CPU. Yes or no? And when multiple VMs are providing the privileged instructions to the common hardware, then it need to be properly handled. The guest should not feel like we are using or we are running on some another machine or other shared hardware. He should or she should feel like they are running on their own machine. So the trapping and forwarding the privileged instructions to the VMM helps in managing the system properly, thereby avoid the various risks and the keeping individual machines isolated. So this VMM performs either of the two activities over here. The first activity, you can see the execution of the privileged instructions on the processes, and second is emulating of the privileged instructions and then returning the results to the VM. VM is nothing but the virtual machine that we call the instance here. Now we'll move to the third implementation level, named as a virtualization at the OS level. That can be understood with the help of the diagram first, and then we'll go for the theory. So here you can see, you just relate the diagrams that we have seen previously and the diagram that we are seeing now. So we have the hardware. The hardware is as it is at its level, but we can see we were running the VMM on the top of the hardware. In the previous diagram, if you look at it, we were running the VMM at the top of the hardware, but now at this level what we have done, it is as it is a virtualization at the OS level, we have added the host OS in between the VMM and the hardware. So that OS is named as a host OS because it is the original OS on which we run the virtual machine manager, that is a hypervisor, and on the top of the virtual VMM we have the virtual hardware, virtual OS, and the applications. So this is a virtual machine 1 up to the virtual machine n. We can have the number of virtual machines running on the VMM. And this VMM emulate the virtual hardware. On the virtual hardware the guest OS runs, and on the guest OS the various applications are running. So the emulation of the hardware is being done by this VMM, and this VMM is running on the operating system that is known as a host operating system. So that is called as a virtualization at say OS level. Yes, firstly it was a ISA, second was a HAL, and third is now we are looking at the OS. The same thing is being shown here in terms of the containers. So we have the hardware, on the top of hardware we have some operating system, and we are using some concepts of the container, and these containers are running on these operating systems, are also the part of the virtualization at the OS level. So we'll see the details of this third, that is the virtualization at the OS level. So it supports the multiple operating systems and the applications to be run simultaneously. Just like the previous one, HL level, it also allows you to run the multiple operating systems. It gives the appearance of the having the multiple separate machines, each of which can be used as a normal system because it is emulating the hardware as well on the instances or say virtual machines. Here the degree of the isolation is high. Yes, and the implementation is a less risky than the previous two ones. The maintenance is also easy in this case of the virtualization at the OS level. This virtualization permits you to have access to the raw computers, which requires a lot of time to be spent on the installation and administration of the VM before you can think of testing or running the application. It involves the installation of the OS, application suites, network systems, etc. But this virtualization at the OS level technique include sharing of the both hardware and the operating system. Yes, here the physical machine is separated from the logical structure by separate virtualization layer that can be compared with the VMM's functionality. This layer is built on the top of the base OS to enable the user to have the access to the multiple machines. This virtualization keeps the environment required for proper running of the applications intact. As well, it keeps the operating system, the application specific data structures, the user level libraries, the environment settings and the other requisites separately. The fourth type of the implementation level is the virtualization at the application level. So till the time we have seen, first was ISA, second is HOL, third was OS level. Now we are again on the top of the OS we have the applications. So now we'll see the virtualization at the application level. So we might have used the JVM. This is a good example, Java Virtual Machine. It is an application, it runs in whatever the platform you do have, whichever may be the OS with you. It may be Linux, it may be Windows, but you can run your applications on that application. There is a this VMM, JVM, and you can get your output without thinking of the your operating system. So on the traditional operating system, an application often runs as a process. We know every application runs as a process. So therefore, this application level virtualization is also known as a process level virtualization. It has another terminologies named as a process level virtualization. The most popular approach of this technique is to deploy the high level language, that is the HLL VMwares. In this scenario, the virtualization layer exports an abstraction to of an virtual machine that can run the programs written and compiled to the particular abstract machine definition. Yes, any program which is written in the high level language and compiled for this virtual machine will be able to run on it. So here we can give the examples of this application level virtualization is the Microsoft .NET CLR and say JVM, that is a Java virtual machine. These are the two good examples of these classes of the virtual machines. Other forms of the application level virtualizations are known as the application isolation, application sandboxing, or say application streaming. This process involves the wrapping the application in a layer that is isolated from the host OS and the other applications. The result is an application that is much easier to distribute and remove from the user workstation. So this is the fourth level, that is the virtualization at the application level. Now the last level that we see is the virtualization at the programming language or say library level. So what it has, this virtualization with the library interfaces is possible by controlling the communication link between the applications and the rest of the system through the API hooks. Do you know API hook? If you want to run the different applications together, what we need? We need the API hooks. Yes, we need the interface. So with the help of this API library, we can run this virtualization. The software tool named as Wine. This Wine has implemented this approach to support the Windows application on the top of the Unix host. So if you want to run some Windows application on the Unix, you can run through the tool, that is API, we can call it as a Wine. So another example is a vCUDA, which allows the applications executing within the VMs to leverage the GPU hardware acceleration. So these are the two good examples of this virtualization at the library level. There is the Wine and the vCUDA. Okay, so that's all about the levels of the implementation for the virtualization. Now we will compare the between the various implementations of the virtualization. So as we have seen, there are various levels, each level having its own advantages, disadvantages, or we can say the positives and negatives, or we can say as advantages and disadvantages in terms of the various factors. Yes or no? So here in this table we can see there are various implementation levels are being mentioned, and on the various factors, say performance, implementation complexity, implementation flexibility, and implementation isolation, they are being compared. Uh, yes, we have seen the details of this ISA level. So the ISA level was a very simple, it was a very excellent, it was giving the various very nice flexibility. So you can see it is a very excellent at the flexibility level. But if we look at the performance, it is very poor. Why? Because it need to interpret all the instructions before running it onto the hardware. Yes. So this is what about the ISA level. If we talk about the HAL level, OS level, so these two techniques have the great performance. It has the excellent performance. You can see here in the diagram. These two techniques have the excellent performance. But if we look at the say flexibility level, this OS level has the low flexibility, whereas this application HL level has the medium flexibility. Yes, and complexity, if you talk about the complexity, the HL complexity is very high, whereas the OS level complexity is at medium stage. And then at the application level, application isolation level, the HL is very good, whereas this OS level implementation is very poor. If we talk about the application level and the library level, we have the contrast. If we are talking about the library level, the application isolation is excellent in this case, but if we talk about the application level, it is very poor. Yes, and the flexibility, application flexibility is very poor for both of these levels, and the implementation complexity for the library level is very complex, that is very high, whereas at the application level it is very low. So in this way you can compare the various implementation levels of the virtualization by taking the various factors. this is the last, that is now we'll look at the who are the various virtualization providers. So very commonly known is the VMware. Most of the people are using the VMware to run the multiple OS on the same system. It is a known name. Similarly, we have the Microsoft with us, and another is third one is Oracle, that is provided by the Sun Systems. First, we'll see the Microsoft. So this Microsoft has lately been considered one of the front runners in the domain of the software and the IT services. In the context of the virtualization service, the Microsoft provides the numerous options including the virtual PC, virtual server 2005 and the Hyper-V. You can see here. We'll see one by one what a virtual PC. The service offered by the virtual PC are only for the Windows users. It is not for the Linux, as it is a Microsoft product. The guest systems may have Linux, but the host should not, or any other OS than the Windows. Well, I am talking about the guest OS on this virtual PC. The guest OS can be any type of the OS, but the host must be the Windows computer. However, the compatibility issues may be noted while running a different OS than the Windows. Yes, Virtual PC does not provide the native support to run the Linux or other operating systems, and it does not provide the integration facilities for the 64-bit guest systems either. So you may face issues while testing a 64-bit software on the Microsoft's virtual PC. Secondly, we'll talk about the Virtual Server 2005. This Microsoft have started providing the virtualization service for the enterprises by bringing this Virtual Server 2005, which has responded well for the simple virtualization tasks. Now it is freely available. You can download on the Microsoft website. This Virtual Server 2005, however, has a very less provision for all kinds of the virtualization. It has some limitations. It does not provide a native management console, which is a feature of the virtual PC, and it can run only the web-based console hosted inside the Internet Information Service, that is the IIS, and you need to install the ActiveX plugin if you want to run the guest management from the remote clients. And thirdly is the Hyper-V, is a virtualization platform that overcomes the many limitations of the first two one, that is the virtual PC and the Virtual Server 2005. Okay, and very commonly known and used by the many of the people is the second is the VMware. This is another provider. So this VMware has over years been synonymous to virtualization. Such is the popularity of the system that today any mention about the virtualization instantly bring the VMware's name to the mind. The virtualization enabled organizations to think that the virtualization can help them avoid various risks and the cost associated with the physical infrastructure, reduce complexity and the improve resource availability. And into that VMware, we have the two types, that is the VMware Workstation and VMware Server. I am not going too deep. And third provider is our Oracle. Oracle has developed a Oracle VirtualBox, that is a VM VirtualBox, and it also enables us the virtualization. Okay, so that's all about the virtualization. So in the today's lecture we come to the end and we have gone through the various concepts. such as the basic concepts of the virtualization, the benefits of the virtualization, the implementation levels of the virtualization. In that we have seen the 5 virtualization levels, and then at the last we have seen the various virtualization providers. So I thank you all very much.